I want you to really sit with this thought for a second. If you don't consistently invest your money early in your 20s, your 30s, or your 40s, and work towards increasing your income in parallel, there is a very real chance that you are going to be working well into your 70s, not because you want to, but because you have to in order to stay afloat financially. And I know I'm starting off this video sounding like a doomer, and trust me, there's plenty of doomer content out there already. But what I want you to get out of this video is that nobody's going to come hold your hand through this process. And you have to start building the investing discipline now so you can build the financial life that you want later. This video is going to be like one of those high school basketball coaches that you had that was screaming at you to do better, but has the best intentions in mind. That's going to be me in this video. It's time to wake up, fellas, and take matters into our own hands. You need to take responsibility for your financial future instead of assuming things will somehow just work themselves out over time. Because I'm going to tell you right now, they won't, especially with what I've been seeing over the last decade or so, with the affordability of the American dream pretty much being out of reach for most middle class families. I made a whole separate video on how the middle class is disappearing, so if you haven't seen that one yet, you should go check it out. But there is no guarantee that something like Social Security is going to fully support your lifestyle decades from now. And if you don't take investing in your finances seriously now, you're essentially putting your future in the hands of uncertainty and hoping it all works out. That does not sound like a winning formula to me. And I don't want the fucking government to dictate how much money I'm getting in retirement. I want financial freedom so I could say F you to everyone else and so that I don't have to live by the same set of rules, feeling trapped by my 9 to 5. If you want to live a life that looks different than everyone else, you have to start moving different than everyone else around you. If you take a second to look around you, maybe at some of your friends, your family, you're going to start to notice that this is exactly where most people go wrong. Because we are living in a financial literacy crisis, my friends. There are too many people pushing off investing and convincing themselves that they'll start later. There's too many motherfuckers out there gambling their hard earned money on Polymarket, DraftKings, whatever it may be. I mean, let's be real. Like, there's people on Polymarket betting on how many missiles we're going to launch over the next weekend or how many tweets Elon Musk is going to make. I feel like we're just living in like one of those South Park episodes right now. We're living in peak brain rot society. You know what the one thing that you can never get back on this earth is? That is time. And time is the biggest variable that you cannot get a second chance on when it comes to growing your money through investing. Do not gamble your financial future away. I talk about this in almost every video. What people consistently underestimate is that investing is not about how much money you start with. And while that certainly does help to have money first to contribute, it is not everything. Investing's biggest driver is about how long that money has to grow. Because when you start early, even relatively small amounts of money have the ability to compound into something way bigger. The compound interest formula truly is the eighth wonder of the world. So, as any coach does, like I allude to in this video, instead of pep talking you guys throughout the video and talking in the third person, I'm going to give you actual steps that you can implement in your life to put into practice right now so that you don't have to work well into your 70s. I'm going to give you these 3 steps on how I'm actually stopping myself from working till I'm 70. So get ready to write these down if you have to and take what you want from this video. Step number 1 is that you need to automate your investments because it's like putting your car on cruise control when you're driving on a long stretch of highway. What I do is automate a certain percentage, right now that's 15%, of my paycheck directly to my 401k so that I don't even have the option to spend that money that I need to be investing. On top of that, I still invest a good percentage of my take home pay in my brokerage account and my Roth IRA. So instead of treating investing like an afterthought, you need to flip the script and treat it like a non negotiable bill that gets paid before anything else. Just like your rent, just like your car payment, just like your utilities. I don't care if you're starting with a couple $100 a month or even less than that. The amount is not the point right now. The habit that you're building is the point. I am not denying, again, that having more money to start makes investing a whole lot easier, but everyone has to start at ground zero. Because once that habit of automatic investing is built, everything else becomes so much easier to build around that. Step number 2 is to determine your investing time horizon so you can better understand your risk. And in my opinion, this should come after you've already built the habit of investing so that you don't just end up sitting there with decision paralysis. because at the beginning, you don't need to overcomplicate things. And most people can simply start with investing in something like the S&P 500 and adjusting that over time as they learn more. For me, I'm 27 and I know I have roughly 33 years before I need to live off of my retirement accounts, which is a long runway for compounding interest to do its thing. So I'm not trying to build any super conservative, income focused portfolio this early in my life because my priority right now is maximizing growth while I still have plenty of time to recover from any market downturns. What I've chosen to do is to keep about a third of my portfolio in a broad market ETF like VOO, another third of my portfolio in growth ETFs like SCHG and XLK, and the final third in a dividend and value focused ETF like SCHD, which gives my portfolio a heavy lean towards growth while still having a stable component in SCHD that can act as a bit of a buffer when the market experiences some bad years. It's a balance that fits my own personal risk tolerance and time horizon, but the main takeaway here is that you need to understand how long you're investing for and then structure your portfolio around that. And obviously, this is not professional financial advice, but this is just how I see it, and this is what's worked for me over the first 4 to 5 years of my investing journey. And step number three is not to panic sell your investments, because doing this is how you can undo years of progress in a very short period of time by reacting emotionally. The worst thing you can do is sell before you actually intend to, especially during market downturns when prices are lower, especially like in times right now, because that usually means you're locking in losses instead of giving your investments the time they need to recover, which historically speaking, they have always recovered. That's exactly why I constantly emphasize building a strong emergency fund alongside of your investments, because life is unpredictable and things are going to come up, whether it's a job loss, unexpected expenses, or just a period of time where your money gets tight. And the last thing you want is to be forced into selling your investments at the worst possible time just to cover any short term needs. My personal thought process is that when things start getting financially tight for me, the first lever I'm pulling is simply reducing or even temporarily pausing my investment contributions and not touching the investments themselves because that keeps my long term plan intact while giving me just a little bit of breathing room in the short term. Selling your investments, in my opinion, should be an absolute last resort, like a true worst case scenario where you're exhausted and you've looked at every other option. Because once you sell, you lose the future compounding that money would have generated. And that opportunity cost is really what sets people back over the long run. So, in my opinion, if you can implement any of these three tactics that I described in this video, you can set yourself up for a good position not to work into your 70s and start building your financial freedom today. And that's all I have for this video. Leave a like if this video resonated with you, and leave a comment down below with how much you plan on investing this year. As always, thanks for staying till the end. I'll catch you all in the next one.